What's up, everybody? Jay here. So, gathered a few friends to discuss a little E3 and decided to record it. So, here you go. Here is part one of our roundtable. We will discuss the press conferences, the games, the rumors, and anything else that tickles our funny bone. So, sit back, enjoy. It is going to be multi-parts, so don't worry. You're not going to have to spend 3 hours listening to one big giant podcast. But hopefully you enjoy. If you do, give it a like. If you don't, you can give it a dislike too. Anything is appreciated. Feedback is awesome. So here you go. Here is part one of our E3 roundtable. And pardon the technical difficulties throughout. I tried to edit out some of them. So here you go. Enjoy. And I'll see you guys next time. Holy, lots of extra work, Batman. Oh, now I gotta get all my notes back up now. That's a lot of work. It's hard clicking on tabs.
I'm sorry. I'll pat my computer screen and make it act like it's your back. Comforting.
Need it right now. All right, cool. So I think we're good. We can start recording. Are we all here? Is everybody here?
All right, let's do
good?
this.
Yep, ready to go.
Physically, maybe, but mentally, no. No, we're not all here. I'm just going to put that out there.
Well, you need to be mentally ready. We're talking games. And I think we're just going. I'm just going to let this go from here. Who needs intros and shit?
Yeah,
I'm just going to go from here.
Okay.
And I usually don't cuss on my videos, and I just did in the first 10 seconds of it.
We're game changers. This is how we roll.
This is what happens. So, I don't know. I guess we could do a small intro. We can introduce people, because for the, 30 people who have actually watched my channel, I'm sure my voice will sound familiar, as annoying as it is. So, we do have a returning character, though, because Will has been in one of my videos.
Yes, I have.
See?
Congratulations.
See, Will has been in one. We did a wrestling one together just to put up a test video. And
Did I win that one officially?
What's that?
Did I win that one officially?
That was some bullcrap, all right?
Did he get any royalties from being in that video? Or
The royalties. The
81 cents you got for everything?
You think I earned YouTube money? No, we did. We did a
$1.50.
prediction for a wrestling pay-per-view, and so he went on there with me. And basically, it was, can the fan book this show better than somebody who knows nothing about it? And literally, I sent him the pictures of the card, for the pay-per-view, and going off of my quick Reader's Digest version of the storyline, he had to pick a winner, and because they are dumb when it comes to booking, and because one match really got kind of screwed because somebody got injured. So I'm sure that would have helped me get ahead. Nah, he won. I think he won by a match.
Wow.
This is some crap right here.
So we're going to do the same thing here then. You're going to grab me off the street. I'm going to come in and talk about something I don't know.
You know about video games.
Some.
So
Let it out.
Diablo, yeah.
Diablo? Wow. Final Fantasy. He's good. He is solid. Now,
Yeah, anything else? Yeah.
anything
no.
else? Anything else? It might be some risky business going on there.
No, that's not true. Call of Duty, Battlefield. Come on now.
True. See, you do play some.
We can go way back on those. But anyways.
Yeah. So Will is here. Obviously, myself, Jay. We know that. I'm going to shameless plug myself tons of times. But we also have two new guests. We have a cousin and a ex-brother-in-law. I don't know how to address this with you.
I'm just here.
So first, we've got Jacob, because we'll go with young before beauty.
Oh, hey, insult before injury. Come on.
Okay, we'll go with age and beauty first. So we have Eric.
Oh!
So no, we've got Jacob, we've got Eric. Welcome.
Great to be here.
Face palming right now. My head hurts.
So you say great to meet you. Jacob's like, not now. Not anymore.
I just want to go home.
So, are you not home?
Nope. I am out in the middle of the street right now, and there's a car coming. I'm going to try to jump this thing. Let's see what happens.
He's going to Kobe Bryant the car.
Yep.
So, we are here because we are going to talk a little video games. These weird things that help us get by. And we're going to talk a little E3. And E3, which starts June 12th if you don't look at their promo, because every single promo for E3 says that it starts June 14th, yet if you look at their lineup for every single press conference that's held at the show, quote unquote, it starts June 12th. So I don't know why they don't include the 12th and 13th on there, but go figure. So, yeah, logic. It escapes everybody. So, first I want to start with the press conferences themselves. I think that's the easiest segue. We'll go from there. So, we'll touch bases. I know we all kind of have favorites. We have unfavorites. And actually, I'm going to nix that. We're not going to start with the press conferences. We're going to start with what's not at E3. How about that?
Sounds good.
Because we actually know what won't be here. We won't be there, for one, because none of us are part of the press. But two, we know that Nintendo will technically not be there, even though they have their Direct, their Treehouse. We know that their new consoles will not be there. So we'll knock that out of the park now. The NX and the MH will not be there. We know that Cyberpunk 2077, the next game by CD Projekt Red, the people that make The Witcher, will not be there, and that sucks some butt. Anything off the top of your guys' head that we know for sure will not be there that we can add to this list? No Assassin's Creed.
No Assassin's Creed.
Yep, we'll get to that in the Bethesda and some other or not Bethesda, but Ubisoft announcements.
I don't know.
What is it? I think Blizzard's not doing anything this year, right?
Yep,
They're not
Blizzard
gonna have
doesn't do
any
anything
game
anymore.
Yeah.
Activision doesn't do stuff at E3 other than Call of Duty.
shows. Mm-hmm.
So no Activision, no EA technically, because EA will be doing their own little thing this year. They are in like a hotel across the street. I think they're in a motel parking lot with tents.
I think
Motel
one thing,
6, man, it's the place to go.
I think one thing to maybe talk about is going forward the viability of E3 with more and more publishers kind of backing out and having their own thing, like like Electronic Arts. Nintendo hasn't had a press conference in a couple of years, and I think with the success Sony had when they had their own separate PlayStation 4 unveiling and how they had the whole eyes of the industry on them, I think maybe that's where it's going. Especially now with the internet, you can release a direct and curate it so you don't have demos on stage that don't work. So
We're looking at you, Uncharted.
or those Connect demos from a few years ago.
Oh gosh, you want cringe moments. I should have had you guys be prepared for that. We should have done our little list of some cringe moments because that's on there. Watching a little girl pet a fake tiger that isn't in sync is beautiful. Yeah, but that's actually a good point to bring up, though, is because E3 no longer to the public. It's all press, and as we've all gone over now, Activision not there, EA technically not there, Nintendo does their directs, their systems will not be revealed. The weird thing is the conferences that actually still get all the attention from all of these companies are Gamescom over in Germany and mainly PAX East, not necessarily PAX West, but PAX East gets all of these people. So, do you guys think it's only because they don't allow the public in now?
I think so because those PAX and stuff, they have so much hands-on and they get so much, especially from the people on the internet, can report back on demos and stuff like that. And E3, it's just so publisher-controlled now.
Yeah. Well, and a great example of that is going to my Ubisoft video. Check that out. I'm gonna throw up so many thumbnails in this video. So here's my first real shameless plug: is my Ubisoft and Wildlands video. It is very much controlled. There's no public. It's all press and it's all kind of gated and filtered. So anything they show here is all going to go through press that wants advantages to talking to these people. IGN is going to want to talk to Ubisoft. They're going to want early access to games. They're going to want demos. They're going to want the early review copies. So they are not going to ask the questions, and they're not going to present to the public what's really being presented from these companies. And that's what happens when there's no public there anymore. When gamers can't go there, they can't sit there and test this and then get on Twitter. And I think that's part of the problem, too, is with the access to Twitter, if you went to a demo for Call of Duty and it sucked, do you know how many people on Twitter would be there like, have you played Infinite War? It's infinite shit. that
Yeah, it's
hashtag
going to be out there
infinite
real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why they got rid of the players. They got rid of the public because now you have the press. And I'm not going to go down the whole the press is getting paid for this tirade that some people do, because I don't think they're not getting paid to say this stuff, but they want access. That's the return.
Mm-hmm.
Is you want access to this stuff. So yeah. So bunch of companies not there anymore. They all go to all this other stuff. So everything has to be taken with a grain of salt when it comes to these games, especially after the past couple years. And looking at you, Ubisoft, if I see Wildlands and it looks majestic and beautiful, and then I get Watch Dogs, I am going to drive to what are they in Canada? I think it's one of their closest locations, and I'm throwing every copy I can get of those games and right at their door.
Yeah, you guys ranted about that game, Watch Dogs, UN10, and oh my gosh.
Oh, I remember when that trailer came out. That looked so freaking cool. And it looked amazing. And oh, was it awful. Have we all played Watch Dogs?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I let you guys do it and then save my ass.
See, Will is smart. Will is the type of person I try to reach out to, especially with some of my videos. When I tell you to save your money and be cautious with it, he does the right thing. He waits and listens to me and other people rant and goes, no.
Yeah, but that doesn't always work because Destiny.
So sometimes we don't rant soon enough.
Hey, I got mine for free, so I'm not complaining.
Well, that's just cheating.
Ain't my fault.
So, all right. So now we know what's not there. Let's move on to what is there. And like I said, let's go kind of in order of these press conferences, and then we'll work from there. So first up is EA. So we're talking EA Sports. We're talking some of 2K Games and stuff will be there.
In the game.
What's that?
It's in the game.
It's in the game.
EA Sports.
How many people even remember those commercials and stuff? Because I don't think they do that anymore. I play Madden every year almost, and I don't think. I know I just had a bunch of people dislike my video too.
I haven't heard yet. There you go. Right, bye.
By saying I play Madden every year, I am the problem.
Bye bye.
And actually, I don't play it every year. I think I get it like every other year, really. But so yeah, so let's kind of go. We all kind of have a few games picked out here. Some stuff from EA. I'm literally gonna flip a coin, which works when you have 3 people and a coin only has 2 sides. Let's start with Eric. Stuff from EA. So what do you think we're gonna see at the EA press conference this year? What has you excited?
I think they're going to spend a lot of time on the new Battlefield. They're changing eras. I think they're gonna, because that's coming out this holiday. I think it's going to be one of their big holiday titles. So I think we're going to see a lot of Battlefield. I'm hoping we'll see Battlefront, a little bit more about the unnamed DLC they're going to have. Hopefully Rogue One, and maybe also some of the other Star Wars games, like the Amy Hennig game she's been working on for a few years. Maybe a teaser there. And, of course, Mass Effect Andromeda, hopefully, because that's coming out, I think, next spring. Hopefully an extended trailer, maybe. See some gameplay, and, usual, the Madden, what their new catchphrase of the year is. But that's usually what I'm expecting from EA this year.
So we'll go down that list here real quick. I swear if I hear Space Magic.
I was refraining so much. I was struggling to face
we will get to
struggle.
Mass Effect in a second. So, real quick, you brought up Madden, and we're going to kind of go down the list and get people's opinions on stuff here real fast. But real quick with Madden, do we see Rob Gronkowski on stage? Because he is the cover boy for the new Madden. Does Gronk show up at E3?
I say yes. Yeah.
Do we get Gronktified?
No, I think he gets injured before he makes it there.
the EA curse kicks in before he makes it to E3.
So what we're telling is we need to make a bet on how he gets injured. Is he going to be a leg injury, arm injury? Is he going to pull something?
See, that's how you do stuff. You don't put bets on football games. We need to bet on how Gronk is going to get hurt. Not saying we want him to get hurt. I don't ever wish injury on a football player or baseball player from any sport. But if it's gonna happen,
God, I got to make some money here.
Yeah, we'll have to work on this bet later. We'll get the stakes and everything for that one. So. Going back real quick, so Eric brought up Battlefield 1, which I know the name has a lot of people mad because how was it the first Battlefield, but because Battlefield 1942 was technically the first,
Yep.
but this is World War One, based, the setting. So it technically is the first timeline wise. We know that a lot of people have been clamoring for a first-person shooter with a new setting. An actual war shooter with a new setting. Is going back to World War One enough?
I think, they're mining, especially Call of Duty is mining that future stuff. And I remember years ago people were complaining that everything was World War One or Vietnam, and they finally made it to present day and then the future. So I think, I don't know. I think it could be good, but, hopefully it won't have the issues that Battlefield 4 had at launch that will, serve a lot of ills.
You mean you want to play the game? Right
Yeah,
away?
I'd like to be again and get some multiplayer going. So yeah.
I know. Well, Will and Jacob, you both play the Battlefield games.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what do you guys think? I mean, because you guys have seen the trailer, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's all we've seen, but we know it is World War One. We know there is, gas projectiles. We know there's horses, biplanes. Is it enough to get you interested in another Battlefield game?
Sometimes going backwards is not the way forward.
Well, in the reverse of that then, real quick, and so we're going to jump over to Activision for a second. We know that Call of Duty, the main competitor to Battlefield, is going into the future. And we know that it is disliked like crazy. That video is one of the most disliked videos on YouTube ever. It's the most disliked video game trailer ever. So, you say that going into the past is
I said
not...
sometimes going, yeah. But for that, you got to remember when people went and played 2142, you had the mechs and whatnot in Battlefield, right?
Yep.
Okay. A lot of people were angry and upset because once somebody got in a mech, sometimes it was hard to get them, down and out. So people were like, get out of that. We're not going to play no mechs this match, that kind of thing. I don't know if that's going to happen in Call of Duty. If all of a sudden they're going to be in the same point, people are not going to want to play it because once you get into one of the machines, technically they're a little overpowered.
So are you kind of worried that Infinite War is going to go a little bit more, I don't know, Titanfall-ish, I guess you could say?
Yeah, Titanfall-ish. But as I said, if we go back to Battlefield, and we're going to go back to World War One and whatnot. Some people are going to enjoy the classic, play style of it, but they're going to start going, where's the upgrades? Where's the massive scopes and whatnot? And it's going to be, oh shoot, technically in World War One didn't really have all that. Plus, how well the uniforms, camouflage, ghillie suits. I mean, really and truly, what are you going to do?
And this is actually a conversation I've had with Jacob on this. Is everybody is hyped for Battlefield 1 and against Call of Duty on those two trailers. But is the aesthetics enough? Like you're saying, they're going to have all this stuff. But what if the game? What if Battlefield 1 plays almost exactly the same as Battlefield 4 and it's only aesthetics? Is that enough? Is that enough of a change? Is setting really all that we need to actually be hyped and excited and enjoy a Battlefield game?
Well, I think with Battlefield, I've always thought of Battlefield more as a multiplayer component. Are they going to have, along with the traditional Battlefield modes, are they going to have more new modes? Maybe something they could think of to take advantage of the different kind of weaponry. I think they need to do something. I think the same old will just be like, that's one thing Call of Duty gets criticized for a lot. It's just the same kind of stuff over and over again. So I hope they do something new.
Well, in the trailer they had the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, trench warfare was big back in World War One. Can you really convey that in a game? Because people look at the trailer and go, "That's awesome, that's exciting. We can do trench warfare." But when you think about it, you're not going to be able to jump out of the trenches. Are you really going to want to climb out of the trenches and be in the no man's land? And if you're just running through the trenches, is that truly exciting when you are you are literally a mouse in a maze going after cheese, just one corridor, next corridor? Is that even exciting?
Yeah, people are going to be throwing nades like crazy. You're going to be waiting for people to
Grenades,
run
man.
around a corner. I mean, look at me in claymores. You know how famous I am with damn claymores. I would have a field day, with claymores in the trenches, and
Yeah.
then so would other people.
Yep.
So
Claymores and just grenades all over the place.
See, my problem is with the trench warfare, though, is if you look at a lot of games have done trench warfare. Star Wars, Call of Duty's done them, other Battlefield games have had them, even other first-person shooters had them. And if you notice, a lot of trench warfare doesn't work out because of things like choke points, and especially if they're going with gas warfare. All people are new, like Will said, is just lobbing grenades, lobbing toxins, and stuff like that.
Yep.
And it's going to get really tiresome. Like, I think there's a game on Steam that they had that's very similar. It's World War I based, Germany Nazi kind of thing. That's supposed to be exactly like this. You have the trench warfare, the no man's land, and stuff like that. And even that game, it gets kind of tedious because you're just seeing people doing the same thing over and over again. Yep. And one of the biggest concepts with the first-person shooter is the infinite life kind of system. You die, you respawn, which leaves there's no challenge to, hey, how can I tactically take out these people or do this kind of thing? So everybody's just going to be running in and doing the same thing they've done in any other first-person shooter, kill each other and blow each other up, and that's it. So, I mean, the World War I kind of perspective is kind of a cool way to take it, but to me it's going to feel kind of like the same, just like playing Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 3, It's it should be the same. People are just going to just find what's OP, or find the one tactic that just tends to work out, and just use it over and over.
Just abuse the tar out of it. And and when you were bringing that up, one thing I was thinking of, what do you do the second you can set up a good sniper position with those trenches? Because like I said, they're not, unless they let you climb directly out of them, which is once again setting yourself up for failure because you're leaving yourself wide open. What do you do if one side has, because Battlefield maps aren't mirrors. This isn't a mirrored setup, a reflective setup where each side has the same advantages. One side will have a different advantage than the other. If one side is stuck with the trenches and you can literally set up sniper points, you are stuck right there at the mercy of those snipers and hoping that they have the aim that I do with a sniper rifle.
Yeah, if they're going to do a true trench warfare like that, that may be one of those options where they're going to prevent snipers from being a class selected for that specific map. Now if you're allowed to leave the trenches, you're allowed to do other things. The trenches are just part of the map. Then they can leave it in there. But yeah, you definitely don't want to make a class have an upper advantage like that. But then again, I mean, if you're a medic in a trench, I mean, what the hell are you going to do? Everybody's going to die around you.
Oh, that's a lot of medic points. That's how you level up. I did that in, what was it, the metro level or whatever back at Battlefield. You go to those servers where they have it set up where it's tons of kills, or the map doesn't end, it lasts for an hour, and you just stand there with a medic while everybody they run by and just die to grenades, and I'm sitting there just...
You're throwing boxes everywhere, yeah.
Yep.
Funny story about that.
Yep,
the last time I played Metro, I guess I'm not allowed to res anybody because every time I use a defibrillator, somebody died. Just saying, they died. It was not my fault.
If you use it twice and kill them.
Yeah,
I had fun doing that for a while until people realized I was doing it, and then I think the moment I realized that they caught on is because it was running out, like when you got towards the end of the subway station, you had a few doors to get out, a couple aside, and the one main door, and you were fighting up to, what was it, like the library or whatever the hell that was, the courthouse at the other side of the street. I would run out the side door and just kind of around people, and then with my defibrillator, just sit there and get a couple kills. And then the few times or few maps later, I went to go do it again, and there's 4 people standing at the end of that little area just waiting. Nobody else came out that damn door. Everybody else is too worried about getting out the main doors and just trying to rack up kills and stuff. I come running out that door, like 4 or 5 people waiting there. There's claymores and their guns ready. And I might have tried it one more time, and they were just waiting. They were like, "Now we're done with this guy's shit." And I was like, "Oh, back to just healing." Because I had advantage.
Since it is World War I, right? And we're talking, medically wise, we were not that great. It's very hard to resuscitate somebody from a bullet to the head. Do we get to amputate people's legs?
Is this straight up going to be like triage? I'm with you. Are we just? I got shot in the foot. Well, I'm gonna wrap this and hope for the best.
Yeah. Or do we get it cut off? Do I get it cut off and tourniquet that thing and just go on, prowl, go crawl and shoot some people?
Oh, that would be wonderful if people have to hop around. I'm thinking back, old game, Rainbow Six Raven Shield. The way their hit markers worked, if you got hit, you limped. Okay? If it wasn't a one-shot kill and you got hit, and they didn't have medics in the game, so this is how you knew you were probably screwed, because you made more noise too when you walked, is that you would start limping. They need to do that here. You get hit and you're not dead. They can't really just, bring you back. You get, the medic comes over and you kind of lose a foot. You limp now. I want realistic. I want people out there with one arm, bandages over an eye so you can't see down your scope properly. Let's go realistic.
Yeah, because that's how Battlefield's always been compromised. They're saying we're the realistic shooter. We got the physics base and everything like that.
I have seen the highlight videos on YouTube of people jumping out of jets, flipping around, bow and arrowing somebody, landing in another jet. Don't tell me this is realistic.
Yeah, I know, that's my point, though. I'm saying they should take it another step further and actually make it realistic.
There we go. All right, so we're going to move on to another shooter, though. We'll stay with EA real quick. Another big game that they are probably going to have, I say probably, I'd almost give it a 99% chance, is Titanfall 2 by Respawn, the people that used to make Call of Duty. They used to be Infinity Ward until I totally forget their names now. Had that midnight, out the door stuff that happened with Activision, and so this is their second chance at Titanfall. The first one received okay. The introduction of mechs and everybody being able to have them and being able to spec out not just your loadout but the mechs loadout and whatnot. It was okay. But it also excluded a storyline. I shouldn't say storyline, a single-player campaign. It had a co-op campaign, which was basically just like 6 or 7 multiplayer matches.
Team deathmatch, pretty much.
Yeah. They do say that they are going to have single-player this time, and they are going to have a story. So, what do you think will either help Titanfall 2 have some good hype coming out of E3, or will make it fail?
I think one thing that will help them is going to be on PS4. It's going to be a true multi-platform. They'll get a bigger audience than just Xbox and PC. And I think with also going back to Star Wars Battlefront, without a single-player component, I think it hurts a lot. You get a lot of the extended play with multiplayer, but I think single-player adds something. So I think it'll help them and help flesh out the universe a little bit.
Next. The big moment of silence.
Oh yeah, you may not want to touch me on this one. I didn't even play Titanfall 1.
Okay,
so I'm gonna do a comparison here. Okay, so originally when they made Titanfall 1, the group that left the Call of Duty franchise, whoever they were, Infinity Suck.
Salt.
I don't like the Call of Duty franchise in general. But the reason they stated they didn't put a single player campaign in there was because they said most people don't play the campaign. They just go straight to the multiplayer. And to realize where they get their stats from was mostly their Call of Duty franchise, because that's where they can pull it from. Now, because I was a big fan, and even when they advertised the original Titanfall, and it looked like you actually had a campaign and the story they were showing off, to end up playing it later to where you barely understand the story and it ends up with just 2 people fighting over a breakfast burrito, and blowing each other up in the end, and you guys getting stranded. If they can actually pull it off this time and say, like, hey, here's a legitimate campaign and there's an actual extensive story to it now, you can understand where all the lore's coming from and what's going on and why these people are truly fighting, I think they could actually pull it off and make a comeback this year.
Mm-hmm.
See, and to get to a point you made real fast, so I'm going to bring up another EA title here, because you said that they were using, basically their metrics on why single player doesn't need to be in these games, and Titanfall failed because of that. Another game that, even though they shipped a lot but didn't put in single player, would be Battlefront.
Yep.
And they went by these same metrics, and people crapped on that game. I played it. I have a lot of hours in Battlefront, and its lack of single player, amongst other things, brought it down. And I think it had the same effect as Titanfall did. Titanfall did not have the Star Wars franchise to help it, though.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think this is necessarily that they learned from Titanfall. I think that they learned from Battlefront that you were going to need to. They heard the complaints with Titanfall. No single player, not enough different styles of games, all this stuff. And then they're like, oh yeah, well we'll see about fixing it. And then Battlefront came out with the same exact setup when you think about it, and it failed. And I think EA, it doesn't matter if it's DICE or Respawn, the games under the developers under the EA umbrella now have to look at it and go, no, we don't know what we're talking about when it comes to that, and we got to fix that. Oh, is that somebody's phone?
Sounds like a faucet.
Are you just somebody taking a bath? Is that how relaxed? Is my voice that
chilled out? Yeah, we're just relaxed.
I got the bubble bath going. I'm just gonna sit there and chat, a little glass of wine. It's gonna be great.
See, I need to do like some smooth jazz radio then. If I'm that relaxing, I'll get everybody comfortable. So my issue with Titanfall though was, and this comes back to the story, because that really is the big problem. The shooting was okay. Having the mechs and stuff was kind of cool. Having the bots and other things involved in the level, so it wasn't just like, what was it, like 8-on-8 or whatever. But especially when you did the story mode, the campaign, I should say, the co-op campaign, multiplayer campaign, or even when you just played normal multiplayer, is if you looked around the world, and a couple of you may have heard this from me before, but when you looked around the world, when you looked around the maps, there was so much other stuff going on. You had weird flying creatures and stuff off in the background and wars going on around you, and none of that fell in place with Titanfall itself, with the main game. I remember there was that one map that's like the desert, kind of like a canyon type area, I guess. And yeah, you can look on some of the ledges and you see these big creatures flying around. I would stand back and look up sometimes, so that doesn't help my team at all. I'm an awful teammate. But looking up at these things, and they're cool as hell. Why are those not involved? Why can I not shoot one of those? Why are we fighting in this weird-ass canyon with these mega pterodactyls that probably want to kill us all, not doing a damn thing? And it's stuff like that that always gets to me. I'm big on story in games. I'm big on making sure that your world feels alive. Their job is to make me believe that the world is real. And in a make-believe game, they have to convey that the world is real. And playing Titanfall, I just felt like I was playing with my Voltron toys against a bunch of friends.
And I'm pretty sure... Oh, go ahead, Will.
Do not knock Voltron. I'll come out to Arizona and whoop your butt.
Oh, we'll have to save that for another time then, because they got that new Voltron series coming out, and we're
Well, aren't they coming out with a new Thundercats actual movie?
They're coming out with lots of stuff. You want to know how people are out of ideas? They're going back to the 80s now.
All right, waiting for the new Gundam series now. But my point is, even you're hitting on that. Like, I think I'm pretty positive in the beginning of that level, as you're getting off the ship, you watch a couple of the soldiers get picked off by those dragons and taken somewhere. Yeah. Like, that would be cool. Like, in the middle of a fight, all of a sudden, dragon swoops down and just grabs the guy you're shooting in the face, and he's gone. Bye. Yeah.
Even if they just picked up some of the bots.
Yeah,
the little soldiers that are around. Make it interactive in a sense. When you have all this other stuff around you and none of it comes into play at all, when you're fighting at these facilities and the location for the last campaign mission, all this stuff going on, and none of it really falls in with the story. Just every time it just seemed like, hey, we're attacking this place, you guys need to help defend it, or you guys need to make sure you get in there so we can go get this information. Well, where are you getting the information from? What panel do you need to get to? What do you need to do on this map? Why do I have to fight outside this stupid building with this big statue here? And the NPCs that you don't even get to see get to play the story. They're the ones being stealthy and going in and stuff. How come, I get that some games want you to be the foot soldiers. Battlefront is a big example. All the Battlefront games, you are playing as the soldiers. So you are not meant to be a part of the story. You are part of the battle. With Titanfall, you were supposed to kind of be part of the battle. You're the ones in these giant mechs. But all of the story that went into that campaign and anything else they tried to throw in there was all off-screen. It was all through voice acting. And yeah, so hopefully they are going to fix that with number 2. Because if not, have fun with that one, EA.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest problem they also had with their co-op campaign, air quote, co-op campaign, is even when the game first released, it was extremely difficult to even get the side that you need. Like, there was an achievement for winning all levels on the campaign with both teams.
Yep.
Like, there's a solo achievement for each team, and then double achievement for doing that with both teams. And I know before it updated, it was kind of a struggle to get that team that I needed. You used to be able to pick the map, or the chapter that you needed, and just keep trying to randomly get put in that team. But then an update hit to where it was completely random.
Yeah.
You didn't get to choose the level, you didn't get to choose the team, so it almost made it impossible to get those achievements.
Yep. Well, and the reason they went with that too is because they were trying to get more people to play it, or trying to help out people that needed to play it still. Because once you played the little crappy campaign, you had no point to go back unless you wanted the achievements.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were sitting there thinking that people they're going to want to go back and play these all the time. Now, the second, because and this is why I wish Sean was here for this, we played it together with a few other people when it came out. And yeah, the second we burned through the campaign, I don't think any of us ever went back and touched it. But they were expecting people to. And then those people who wanted the achievement were going back and cherry-picking what levels, and they're like, no, we can't have that, because what about the people who need the second campaign mission for stuff? And we can't populate this. Well, hold on. We make it random, so then that way we can force them into that level to help the people that need to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it takes away from it. There's no fun in that, because then after a while you're just like, this is just now a frustrating achievement because it's all RNG based.
Yep. RNG is the mighty lord of randomness.
Oh, always fun in games. So
he hates me.
All right, so a couple more EA games to touch here, and I'm saving the best for last, and I don't mean it as the best game, just because I know I'm going to hear crap at the very beginning, and it's going to set me on a rage. So first, we're going to talk about EA Star Wars. Eric brought this up. We have Amy Hennig produced, directed, written, whatever her actual role is on the game, developed Star Wars game. For those who don't know who she is, she was a writer and director on the Uncharted series. That is her big claim to fame. She's had some other games, but she was a writer on Uncharted 1 and directed 2 and 3, if I remember correctly, and was there for most of 4. Mm-hmm. So, very, very praised in the game developer world.
Yeah, she actually, going back a way, she was involved in the original Legacy of Kain games.
Yep. She did some writing in that one. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, this game, there's no title, there's no info other than Visceral is making a Star Wars game. So, is it RPG? Is it open world? Is it third person style? Is it Mass Effect? Is this the reboot to Star Wars 1313?
See, I think the one they announced a couple weeks ago that Respawn is doing, I think that has the better chance of being like a 1313. I'm thinking of like an Uncharted Star Wars, honestly.
You think they're going to go straight up action adventure with a story?
Yeah, I think they're going to try that type of really narrative type game, and then I could see like a Respawn doing a more visceral shooting type, that more action, but like kind of a Nathan Drake. I don't know if they're going to come up with a new Star Wars character or use one already, but who knows? It's interesting, but I'd like to see something from it because it was announced a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So. And you brought it up real quick with the action kind of thing. You got to remember, with Visceral, they are the ones who made the Dead Space games. That is their claim to fame. That is that company. Awesome. Yeah. So if they don't go the Uncharted route, or more story and action adventure based, do you think they go with something not Dead Space, because it's not going to be Star Wars horror? They can do that zombie stormtrooper book.
Yes. Or zombie Wookiees just jumping from you other vents.
Well, they actually have a book back in the old expanded universe, or the Legends stuff, or whatever the heck they call it now, where they had zombie stormtroopers.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm going to show my age again. Hold on, let me pull out the gray hairs here. Star Wars Galaxies back in the day actually used a location on Dathmor where they put in some of the zombie stormtroopers to incorporate that. And I think that's the only Star Wars game so far that's really acknowledged it. So I don't think they're going to go that route, but so the question for the roundtable here then is, let's say they use existing characters. Start with we'll go with Jacob on this one. Who do you think they base it off of?
That's a tough question. Are we talking about an expanded universe or just within in-house?
I say you probably have to use the actual canon.
Okay, well, because I know they're doing the new movie, this Rogue Squadron is coming out, which is kind of a prequel to how they got the plans for the Death Star originally. My best bet is it could be possibly like maybe a Han Solo kind of game, because they don't really state too much on what Han Solo did. He always, like in the movies, they always say, "I've done this," and I've done this, but they never explain exactly what he's doing. It's always been like little award moments. So they could possibly go a Han Solo route, to get to like an origin story kind of deal. How Han Solo came to be who he was and then existed within the Rebel Alliance.
That might be more for the Han Solo movie they're doing, though.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point, because I was thinking when he brought that up with Han Solo, it's like, okay, he used to be in the Imperial Navy. He got out, he became a smuggler, he finds Chewie, all this stuff. That would be great. And then, yeah, you brought up the Han Solo origin movie, and unless they are literally going to hold on to this until that movie comes out, which is, what, 2018?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That's a long time to hold on to this game.
Yeah, but you've seen a lot of other games, release in like 06 or give a trailer in 06 and haven't been made until about now. So, I mean, that's a very big possibility.
I think with the fact that this has already gotten out there, that they're already working on it, I think that, and especially with how much EA wants to make this Star Wars money, as everybody saw with Battlefront, that they're not going to hold on to it that long. I think it'd be tough on that one. So, I mean, real quick, because you brought it up too, if you could pick one extended universe character, who would it be? Name. Caught you on the spot.
Kyle something from the Dark Force.
Kyle Katarn.
Kyle Katarn.
Oh, do you know how many people you just got to like wet themselves thinking of another Dark Forces game with Dice's engine?
That would be
with the Frostbite engine.
Very people I've people wanted another one, and I mean, today's technology and stuff, I think they could really make a kick-ass game.
Take Doom's engine.
Exactly, I was about to say it.
Because that's what the original Dark Forces were made off of, was the Doom engine. And you call up Bethesda right now and go, can we borrow the code? or I guess it's use the Unreal 4 engine, and goes, boom, we made a new Dark Forces. Congratulations. All right, so Jacob, expanded universe character.
You're gonna have to give me a minute on that one. I'm trying to think.
I've got a timer out.
So you're gonna be half an hour here. I was thinking more of somebody from the Fringe, the Frontier Fringe area. Outer space, or like because if you look, I think there was a phone game, the Star Wars Uprising, or whatever. They talk about the Fringe and how they're still acting like the Empire is intact.
Yeah. So that would be a good one to base off, because for those who didn't play Uprising on your phones, yeah. It is a follow-up to Episode 6, and how nobody knew that the Emperor was dead and the second Death Star was blown up. And basically all the remnants of the Empire intercepted as many transmissions coming out from, around like the forest moon of Endor and stuff, and try to intercept as much of the transmissions and kill off as many people that were in the know. And so for all the people that kind of wondered, how did people not know who Luke Skywalker was? That's where they went. So I get where he's going with that one. So, and we're going to make Eric wait to last, since we know his expanded universe. So Will, if you had to pick from the main canon.
Oh, come on. I can't pick from expanded?
You get to do that second. We're going to go main canon first. Who would you like to see a game based off of? Especially if they're going like deep in story.
Oh my gosh. Let's do young Yoda.
Ooh.
What's young though? Are we going back like 400 years?
Yeah.
When Yoda's 450,
we get Yoda's training, which could be interesting. That's a lot of history to do. You could have the game jump, decades, centuries at a time.
So now, would he be the same size, or would he be like half his size when he's that young?
See,
like,
there you. That's something we got to figure out, and I'm sure
halfway to my kneecap, or is he, to my kneecap?
And I'm sure Game Theory on YouTube, if this game were to come out, would literally do an episode where they count the pixels to figure out how much he grows over time, so we can get a growth chart. Because if you've ever watched Game Theory stuff, they go in depth. That is
so over his 900 years from when he was born, he's grown like a foot and a half. Maybe. He's like a hobbit.
He gets about an inch every year or so.
Yeah.
Maybe not even a
year. Like the first,
every century.
Every century gets an inch.
All right, so you pick Yoda. If you could go with the expanded universe, so this might be tough. I don't know how deep you go into the expanded universe of Star Wars, but who could you pick?
I would pick probably Ventress, Visage.
Ooh.
There you go. Well, I honestly think she's considered part of canon now.
Yeah.
She was in the cartoons.
Yeah, I think the Star Wars, the newer Star Wars cartoons ones started making certain characters canon.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that would explain it. I didn't follow cartoons.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Because I think they added who's that new bounty hunter that kind of looks like Crypto from Destroy All Humans, except taller.
That's the last
Well, I
one.
mean, if I
Assad
have
Kane
to
or something
pick,
like that.
Something.
yeah, if I have to repick Darth Bane.
Darth Bane.
Oh, there we go. We're going really old. Even though I think he's part of canon too, but still, that's something I think a lot of people don't know.
Oh, okay.
So, all right. So, Eric, we already got your expanded universe with Kyle Katarn, you cheater. So, who would be your canon story then?
I would kind of. How about Kylo Ren?
He's going new. Ah, jeez.
Because kind of like before, like like the story of why what happened when he destroyed Luke's Jedi apprentices, and just kind of I think there's more to it than, and I think it could make a good game, some narrative and some action sequences. So
Well, we brought up already. I heard feedback. Ooh, I heard myself talk. I hate that. Hey, hear my own voice. But we brought up earlier about having to wait until the Han Solo movie comes out. Do you think if they went that route, they would have to wait until Episode 8 came out, because 8 has the possibility of really breaking into more of his backstory?
yeah, but that's more present. I don't think like they could really flesh out like different adventures of his.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if
Yeah.
they don't want to have too much touch on it yet, would it have to be something that would wait until
It would
Episode
have to
8?
wait. Yeah, probably have to wait.
All right. Well, I'm going to blow you all out of the water, because this whole entire time I have not thought about my answers at all. So if I had to pick a main canon character, I want a Lando Calrissian game.
Ooh.
I want to see him as a smuggler.
There you go.
I want that. And then and for my expanded universe, I'm about to make tons of people who won't ever listen to this excited. I finally want a Mara Jade game.
Ooh.
She had the little DLC to Dark Forces 2, I think it was, where you played as her for a couple levels as she tried to find Kyle Katarn, because she was Kyle's apprentice. So give us a full-fledged game where we get to see Mara Jade be dark side, light side, and depending on how Episode 8 goes, does she still hook up with Luke like they did back in the real expanded universe or the Legends stuff?
Mm-hmm.
And would she really be tied into this or not? Or can they just make a game like that? That's where my interest would be. I know they're probably not going to, unless she really is the mother of Rey. Intent, wink, wink, where my thoughts go with that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I would want, is finally a Mara Jade game. So
I could go with that. Yeah, that would be fun.
see. All right, so we're going to cover one more EA game here, I think, looking at the list, and we'll move on. We've still got like 4 or 5 other companies to really go through, so we'll have to rapid fire those before we're here all day. And I know I'm going to hear the words. Mass Effect Andromeda. I was waiting for you to say Space Magic. You could hear him smack his lips.
I know, I'm sitting there refraining. I'm just like, so constipated. It just wants to come out.
So the last time we've seen Mass Effect was with the Citadel DLC for Mass Effect 3. It's now been a mini moon since Mass Effect 3 actually came out, and its ending became very polarizing. We'll say that. Some people were fine with it. Some people were very upset with it.
Some people wanted to shoot themselves in the foot.
I think that was the writers. So Andromeda is not a Commander Shepard story. Male or female, doesn't matter. This is not even in the same universe. Andromeda is supposed to be galaxies or whatever away. Star systems away. But we have seen in the trailers, you have N7, you have, or we've been told we're going to have stuff like, oh my god, there's a new Rex-style character. Why am I not remembering his race now?
Krogans?
Thank you, Krogan. Oh my god. So there's going to be tiebacks to the original Mass Effect series. And I know semi-recently, one of the bits that came out is that this actually takes place just after Mass Effect 3. Which I know for a long time people have gone, if this follows the story, will they give us a canon ending? So for those of us who have played, I'm going to start with this before we get into what we think is really going to be good or bad about Andromeda. What do you think about them actually forcing a canon ending to Mass Effect 3? I don't think Will's beaten Mass Effect 3, so I think this is going to go to the other ones. But he's heard me rant about it before, I think.
Well, I was going to say, you'd remember, when we played Mass Effect 3, it was simply for the multiplayer. That's all I played it with.
Yeah, he played through like the Mars levels, I think, in the main story. Because I remember him bringing up like Ashley getting beaten up, and that was about it.
Like a redheaded stepchild.
It's been a while.
So we'll start with Eric real quick. So you know how Mass Effect's always been. They do not force you into choice or into other choices. They don't. They usually don't make you have to go down one route other than picking blue, green, or red.
How to blow up everything.
But what do you think about them forcing an ending onto you?
I think they should do it just because of all the controversy, just to say, okay, this is how it is, and just move forward. I mean, what they had so many missteps with, they had to do the new ending and stuff. They just need to like kind of clear the palette and move forward, I think, and just say this is it, go.
Jacob?
I think, well, okay, so my perspective, there's two ways they can either take this, right? If they're going to force an ending, they should kind of make it a cliffhanger, in a way. But I'm thinking, like, it should more be alleviated over the storyline, because, like, you see some games where they'll do, like, little radio presets or whatever, and, like, they should, like, receive, like, intercept a transmission or whatever every once in a while, what's going on or what happened, because from what I heard, Andromeda's when you play so far out that they didn't really know what was going on back in the main galaxy, the Milky Way.
See, and I think that's where some of the confusion comes up, because the pictures and stuff that they've put out have the character and the team that you're going to have called the Pathfinders. They're supposed to be trying to find a new settlement for Earth, or for Earthlings, for humans, supposedly, which would tie it into the fact that, okay, depending on how Mass Effect 3 ended, Earth is in shambles, I think, in any of the endings.
Oh yeah,
Earth got a little got a little effed up. It had a bad day. Okay, but the thing is if they are really the Pathfinders and they're supposed to be finding a new place, how did they get out in time? So it really, and obviously this is all speculation, is how did they either know to jump in the mass relays before anything happened to them, and depending on what ending you played, if you played it before, the DLC came out, they blew up, and if you played it afterwards, they just shut down, quote unquote. They still had nice little animations where it looks like they kind of blew up.
There was one ending where I think as if you chose the synthesis, or not the synthesis, the symbiotic ending, the Reapers repaired the relays.
Yeah, and and this goes back to their awful endings, because that's not conveyed at all in the originals in those colors. But still, if that's the case, then you have to have a clear-cut ending. If they are trying to repair or find a new place for humans, then you have to know what happened in the ending, because there's no point for them to leave. So that's where my thing kind of comes up on how they're going to portray this. Because if you automatically say like the red ending, the destroy ending, you're going to have tons of people that would go, "That's not what my Shepard would do." Do the control. You're going to have a lot of people going, why would I pick a bad ending? Because it was the Elusive Man, basically. It was his ending. And then synthesis, so we're all AI now, we're all robots, is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, like a mixture of both, yeah.
Yeah, which, just genocide when you really break it down. But if they force one of those, there's going to be a huge part of the fan base that is going to be put off, because they're not going to want to be forced into this. So I think you have to throw away the whole, it's going to be right after Mass Effect 3, and they have to, somehow these guys have got to be way out in the distance, well before it happens. And as Jacob suggested, maybe they get updates and they find out about it. But it's kind of hard to say that if this game takes place after Mass Effect 3, that there's no ties to it whatsoever. I get that, they could be in a totally different universe, kind of like thing, and would have no knowledge of it. But the one thing that brings it back together is the fact that in the trailer, you see a character in N7 armor. If you're telling me that there's two different universes, basically, galaxies, whatever, that both set up the Special Forces unit, these inspectors and stuff, whatever, the N7 agents, and they use the same initials, they use the same, patch and everything, I'm gonna call BS. So there has to that whoever is in that N7 armor, which isn't the main character, by the way, too. They've said that's not the main character. So you've got a soldier with you who is N7. Holy cow!
I had to get up. I unplugged my headphones. I had to get up.
Okay. But if you have a character in the N7 armor, he has to come from this universe. We also only know that there are 2 human Spectres or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was Shepard, and it was either
Ashley or Caden.
Or Caden, yeah. So you can't tell me that there's no ties to this game because there's only 2 humans up until the destruction of the Sol system and the Citadel. All that stuff happened at the end of Mass Effect 3. You can't tell me they have like a secret 3rd human. So
it's the Anderson clone.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing and disappointing all at the same time. So now pulling away from the tie-in and how them forcing you on an ending could suck. What do we expect from this game? Is anybody even excited for this after Mass Effect 3?
I kind of want to see if they've learned their lessons, and hopefully they won't have like those silly the mining planet game mini games, and they just kind of move forward and just try something new, not just next gen type graphics. That they really look at the problem, especially Mass Effect 3, and try to do something different, but still retain the lore and the basic gameplay of it.
To bring up the mining stuff real quick, they did have an interview last year, I believe it was, where they did say they want space to not just be a thing. And I know people have wanted space exploration in this, even if it's not full-fledged like No Man's Sky style flying. They wanted some sort of space exploration other than let me ping the map here and let my Eco the Dolphin powers work while I find places to go. So supposedly they want to work on that.
Good.
So I was going to ask Will what would make you excited for Mass Effect?
Multiplayer.
That's the answer.
I could say boobies.
They have those. They've had them. You can have sex. Do you think they'll still have sex scenes? There's a good question real quick before we ask Jacob what's going to excite him, unless this is the answer.
Oh yeah.
Dragon Age still has them, but if you actually went back to Dragon Age Inquisition, they did scale them down a little bit. And except for that big dude who was posing like he was the chick from the Titanic, they weren't all that provocative or anything. So do they actually scale that down? Because that's something that Mass Effect's always been big on is, the few sex scenes that get put in there.
I think they have to keep it in there because it's just like you said, it's part of what's expected. And if they don't put it in there, people are going to complain. But if they do put it in there, some people are going to complain. So I think they should keep it in.
Well, the question is the character going to pertain some Commander Shepard-like role? They're going to be are they going to be like the main center focal character? Or are they just going to be kind of like just a cast character that you create to go with the group?
Yeah. And I get where you're going with that, because Commander Shepard is very much a plot device.
Mm-hmm.
That is, if you break down all the Mass Effect games, Commander Shepard is not a character, man or woman. Yes, I know there's lines and dialogue and all that stuff. It is a plot device.
Exactly.
Everything else is around everybody. All the stories all revolve around other characters.
Mm-hmm.
No story actually revolves around Shepard. Yeah, he's got to get the army, or she's got to get the army, so I don't make people mad. But everything that happens is actually revolving around other people. So if you're still in that role where it's just kind of like, I'm going to make up my own story and then, integrate everybody else's, I can see them still having the sex scenes. Because they'll be like, no, this is your reward for putting up with these people.
I got to make a calibration.
Yeah.
I got to make some calibrations.
Yeah.
Calibrations.
And there's one thing that's going to really drive me nuts. No Garrus. Come on.
Oh, man. Man, what about those recalibrations?
The only reason I would ever play female Shepard would be for Garrus. I'll say it now. I'll go gay bromance for Garrus. But that's just me and a lot of other people.
But so my question too is: are they going to open it up? Are you just going to still play strictly a human character? Because then again, you could do the same thing. Or are they going to open up different species? Could you play a Turian or a Quarian or something like that?
That would be cool. I think that's a lot of work on the voice actors then, though, because you'd have to have a lot of voice actors do lines. Because if you were a Quarian, you'd have to have the helmet.
Yeah, sure.
Unless the synthesis ending was true, and they can probably breathe without them.
Exactly.
Oh, god.
I mean, they could just do a Dragon Age thing. Hey, we got 2 generic voices for each cast type. Human and elf, same thing. Don't worry about it. We'll be golden.
God, that's the only way they can make that work.
Or you can go the Saints Row Saints Row the 4th way and just say screw it. Have Nolan North play female, and say I'm Nolan freaking North.
Just a really masculine sounding woman for the whole game would be funny. Oh, that'd make a lot of people mad.
Priceless.
So then, real quick, for the people who are into this game, we know it's already been pushed back to 2017. Do we get a release date at E3, or do they save it for like PAX?
I think it'll say like March something. I think they'll announce it for March and give a date. Because they've done that before with other games too, so why not? They could always delay it again like they did with Mirror's Edge.
Hey, we're just going to delay it. We're delaying it again. Don't worry about it.
If it finishes, like their trailer or gameplay finishes with a screen that says soon TM on it, I will flip a table.